Walk the streets of Tehran in the late 1970s, and you would see a city heavily embracing Western culture. You had neon signs, cinemas showing Bollywood films, and local women walking the avenues in miniskirts. But within a matter of months, that entire society vanished. It was replaced by mandatory religious dress codes and a deeply militarized posture. To understand how a nation flips its identity that fast, you have to look at the resource driving its economy. For decades, American and British companies pulled petroleum out of Iranian soil on a massive industrial scale, leaving locals with pennies on the dollar. Then came Prime Minister Mohammad Reza Shah Pahlavi. He looked at this foreign monopoly and decided to nationalize Iran's oil industry. He effectively kicked the American and British corporations out overnight to keep the profits inside his own country. The West refused to accept the loss of revenue. The CIA and Britain's MI6 orchestrated a swift coup, arrested Mossadegh, and dismantled his democratically elected government. By tearing down a popular leader to protect their oil supply, Western intelligence agencies created a massive political vacuum. They secured their petroleum for the short term, but they guaranteed a volatile, explosive blowback down the line. Into that vacuum, the US and Britain installed a puppet monarch to protect their interests, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, known as the Shah. To appease his Western backers, the Shah launched the White Revolution. This was a top-down mandate forcing secularism onto a deeply traditional Islamic society. He flooded the country with alcohol, Western media, and foreign corporate interests, ignoring the religious values of his own citizens. While everyday Iranians struggled economically, the Shah lived in extreme, tone-deaf luxury. In 1971, he hosted a massive party at the ancient ruins of Persepolis, inviting foreign diplomats and spending an estimated $200 million, while his own people watched in resentment. Anyone who spoke out against this corruption faced Savak, the Shah's brutal secret police force. They routinely dragged dissidents from their homes, relying on severe torture and executions to maintain the monarch's grip on power. When a state aggressively erases its own culture and backs it with severe violence, the population radicalizes. The Shah spent decades compressing his citizens into a powder keg, and all they needed was a match. That match was Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. He emerged as an unyielding voice, publicly condemning the Shah's corruption and his total subservience to the United States. The Shah tried to silence Khomeini by exiling him, eventually forcing him to Paris. But Khomeini simply recorded his revolutionary sermons onto cassette tapes and smuggled them back into Iranian mosques, organizing a massive resistance from thousands of miles away. The breaking point hit on September 8, 1978. Citizens gathered after Friday prayers to protest. The Shah deployed his military, who opened fire directly into the crowds. That single day became known as Black Friday, and it officially pushed the entire country over the edge into total revolt. Millions of ordinary citizens flooded the streets, completely overwhelming the military and the secret police. By January 1979, the protests were so massive and unrelenting that the Shah had no choice but to flee the country for good. 1 month later, Ayatollah Khomeini flew back into Tehran. He was greeted by an estimated 5 million devoted followers, ready to follow his exact vision for a new state. Khomeini's success came from weaponizing the religious and traditional values the Shah tried to outlaw. This created a movement focused on a total structural rejection of the West, moving the goalposts far beyond a simple change in leadership. Khomeini knew that simply changing the laws would not protect his revolution. To prevent the West from ever installing another puppet, he had to engineer a political machine that was entirely immune to outside infiltration. He built the state around a concept called velayat-e-faqih. This translates to the guardianship of the Islamic jurist, a system where absolute political and legal authority rests entirely with a religious scholar, holding the newly created title of Supreme Leader. The Supreme Leader is chosen by the Assembly of Experts, a highly vetted group of 86 religious scholars who are elected to 8-year terms. But the true failsafe of this machine is the Guardian Council. This is a powerful 12-member body made up of 6 Islamic legal experts and 6 judges. Their superpower is absolute vetting. If you want to run for president or parliament in Iran, you have to pass through the Guardian Council first. If you don't perfectly align with the Supreme Leader's religious ideology, you are denied a spot on the ballot. This architectural design is brilliant for its creators. It gives the citizens the outward illusion of voting in a democratic republic while operating as an unbreakable, closed-loop authoritarian grip. Even with the laws rewritten, Khomeini knew a political system is only as strong as the people holding the guns. He deeply distrusted the Shah's old regular army, so he built a brand new parallel military force from scratch, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, or IRGC. While the regular army was assigned to standard border defense, the IRGC was designed entirely as ideological muscle. Their sole purpose is to protect the political system from internal dissent and crush any remaining Western influence. In the span of a single year, Iran went from a secular, US-managed ally flowing with Western capital to a heavily fortified, ideologically pure fortress. The 1979 revolution culminated in the creation of a bespoke, impenetrable theocracy. Khomeini established a state specifically engineered to withstand Western pressure indefinitely.